Good morning, 7th of June 2019, 8 a.m. CET, meaning that here on Light Forex Global YouTube channel we are starting with pre-London live market coverage. Let's start with risk warning. Guys, please bear in mind trading FX on margin. Trading crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be stable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all your initial investment, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. All right. Now, I would like to apologize that we had a schedule, we haven't met yesterday, right? Especially in regards to the ECB. I've had a really urgent meeting, so I've been whole day away. So to be honest with you, I haven't watched ECB and then Draghi press conference as well by myself, right? So again, apologize. Anyway, what is going on? We have another meeting today, don't forget, 2:15 p.m. CET. We are going to meet and we are going to cover live non-farm payrolls, right? So you are more than welcome to join me this afternoon. That's the first thing. Let's have a look what we have from the calendar perspective. It was busy Tokyo session, and I'm gonna to explain in a second, but it was really very busy, especially if we are going to check Chinese yuan, and I'm gonna explain the move in a second. But first thing first, what is ahead? Ahead is actually we should have the number right now. German industrial production, where I have it. There you go. Much weaker what market was expecting. Minus 1.9 versus minus 0.5 expectations. It's one of the reasons we have 5 pips pullback on euro dollar. Next thing is going to be 8:45, so within the next 40 minutes, French industrial production. Then we do have at 10 a.m. CET Italian retail sales, and 10:30 we do have UK consumer inflation expectations, but also there is an interesting thing going on in UK, and I'm gonna to mention about that in a second. Hopefully we're going to have enough time. Then of course afternoon it's a non-farm payrolls day, and we are going to prepare ourselves during our afternoon meeting, just in case you are not able, or you don't want to join, or whatever reason you are not be able to watch our meeting. Just don't forget, if you are a FX trader, we are going to have a initial reaction for the headline, right? I'm talking about the non-farm payroll employment change, right? Same as we've seen when we had the ADP last Wednesday, right? But from the FX trader perspective, much more important is average hourly earnings, right? And here the expectations are a little bit higher than what we get last time. And here is the point for the dollar direction, at least for quite some time after the announcement, right? So I'm going to focus on this later today. At the same time, we do have the Canadian job market as well, so somewhere in the background we are going to watch USD CAD as well. Okay, so now, as I mentioned, the Tokyo session was very busy, so slowly let's start. President Trump was very active during the Tokyo session, was trying to, say a few things about Mexico, a few things about the China, a few things about the Fed. So was trying to be active on all these fronts. In regards to China, I'm trying to find and put into the chat window for you. Okay, for the Fox, President Trump for the Fox, right? TV. China wants to make a deal. And I'll definitely get a deal with China, all right? So we are going towards this warmer approach right now. But actually, to be honest with you, there was a, or was not, the reaction on the indices. Here, Nasdaq, we are trying to create V formation towards the broken neckline, and that's gonna be very important what is going to happen today. So that was President Trump about the China, but it was not only about the China, it was also about the Mexico as well, right? So in that case, it was that Mexico need us, we don't need the Mexico, right? That's let me find it out where it is. Can I? Yeah, that's here. Also for Fox TV. There you go. So Mexico needs us, we don't need them. Also about the Germany, that they didn't step up yet much on the defense spending, right? So here as well. And of course, there was about the Fed. So he was trying to be active on each and every ground. So he covered China, Mexico, Fed, and Europe as well here. But to be honest with you, this time there was not much reaction into what he said. It was much bigger reaction here. Dollar, Chinese yuan. We are get back to 695, 694, right? And it was mostly based on PBOC Governor E. And there was a whole coverage, but this sentence most probably was one which grabbed market attention. No yuan exchange rate number more important than others. And it's another time when we see, if you remember this week also, I sent you the link about the information that analysts predict that really 7 level is losing importance, right? And we discussed it before that weakening yuan might be one of the tools to try to offset this trade war from the China side, right? So yeah, from one hand, weaker yuan might be a little bit of the shock at the very beginning. China might be called as the FX manipulator, but come on, that's how it works. So I'm going to watch carefully European Open within the next 50 minutes from risk perspective. Really gonna be interesting. If you remember what we discussed, right? After the break above 686, 687, right? Over here, once we broke higher, we call it zone between 686, 695 as a no man's land, all right? As a no man's land. And after the break to the upside, there is some kind of, let's call it flag creation, and really looks like, based on the daily chart, we almost ready to break to the upside, and I wouldn't be surprised if we are gonna to see the break today, right? So to be honest with you, because what we've been told by, let's call them market expert, right, that's above 7, that's gonna be whoa. I think that yeah, the first move above 7, that might be a little bit of the shock and negative market reaction, right? But on the other hand, from the medium term perspective, it might be the tool for Chinese PBOC guys to try to sustain or try to even push higher the economy, of course, by manipulating the currency, and that's the risk from the US perspective. I mean, that's the risk that the US will call China FX manipulators. But trying to get back here to the chart, I'm not going to be surprised if we are gonna to see the break over 695 today, right? So, as I mentioned, it was busy Tokyo session, and that's not the end. There's also, from the pound perspective, important thing in relation to the national election and the Brexit party. There was a Peterborough, and looks like the results is against the Brexit party. It looks like they lost by more than 600 votes. And I wonder what kind of the reaction we might see from the pound perspective, right? So in that case, slowly we are switching to the charts, and I'm going to start. I know it's a non-farm payrolls day, it's important from dollar perspective, but I'm going to start with euro pound. All right, I'm going to start with euro pound. It's very interesting. Euro bounced overall yesterday, right, after the ECB. So it was not only versus dollar overall, but it was the quite interesting from which levels, right, that was the bounce. Now, to confirm these levels with dollar, with pound, euro needs to continue to rise. And to be honest with you, maybe with dollar, but I can't see it right now with the pound. Overall, I might be totally wrong, so be careful, and let's try to discuss it right now. So what we have here, right, it's a Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So yesterday we retested weekly open. That's what we discussed this week, right? That the failure higher might bring lower levels. That's what happened. Now, what is important from weekly perspective, we are trading right now below previous week high, and if we are gonna to get such a close, right, so meaning that supply was quite active here. Now, from the daily perspective, right, we finished the business, and just a reminder, upcoming Tuesday 8:45 we got first. We do have 3 in total in June, but this upcoming Tuesday 8:45 AM CET, we do have a webinar. We start with possible supply demand. We are going to discuss the things I'm talking about during our meetings with details. So we finished the business yesterday here on the pound. We are trading below the high from Wednesday, right? It's still some kind of the range this week, right, where the supply is active at the top and demand is active at the bottom, right? Going lower, intraday perspective, right, we get back below quite important level if we are going to do this that way, right? We still, one can argue Piotr, but we still here testing this base, intraday base ahead of the break to the upside after the non-farm payrolls, right? After the ECB, but there is no continuation here, okay? I would be afraid about it here. Now, what I'm looking for this candle, right? Maybe like this as a supply, and that's what happened. We hit that level and we are pulling back. So what I would like to see during the European session, attempt to rise, right? And I'm going to try to work with the short side around this level. I'm talking about 88.80, right? I'm talking about 88.80 with the stop above most recent high. In that case, we are talking about the 89.02, right? So 88.80, 89.05, 25 pips, and I'm looking for at least minimum the weekly open, and I'm looking from the medium term perspective even lower. From that perspective, I'm looking for the break of this double bottom over here, right, to open 86.50. Okay, that's how I see the things on the euro pound. It's going to be worth to watch pound USD behavior, right? Why? Because we have two upper shadows, but looks like bulls are not giving up here, right? I'm not saying that I do prefer long pound versus euro than long pound versus dollar, and it might change a bit after the payrolls, but still I think we might see stop count. We discussed it already a few times, what we have here and yesterday again. I do believe we are going to see the stop count, but there is a nice over here. So 27.50ish, again yearly open, and again might be under pressure. So watching pound USD to trade euro pound in that case, at least during the London session. All right. The last thing about the pound, also we are around the supply from the pound yen perspective over here, right? So it's worth to watch this cross as well in case of the stronger yen. Right? Again, that might be the range for the pound dollar, around 57, around 27.50, 27. Okay, and then it's all about how the euro will behave in that case. So that's how I see the things on the pound. Overall, I'm getting positive towards the pound. All right, again, but especially versus euro. All right, we'll see. Now, ECB yesterday, and as I mentioned, with euro pound, we bounced based on the weekly open or weekly minimum. Same here with euro dollar. We bounced at the level we discussed. It is possible, right? The broken swing high over here, finally retested, strong bounce, right? The thing is that we are, on one hand, we bounce from the level we expect to see the bounce. On the other hand, we are fighting with this supply based on the 17th of April, which was discussed as well for quite some time, right? We are discussing this for quite some time. So 113, 112.75, okay, and now at the end of the day, and again I'm gonna to explain what I mean by that during the upcoming webinars, at the end of the day we are going to have an answer. If yesterday ECB day, right, been with this rising day, if it was something bigger from Euro bulls perspective, or if it was just short accumulation, right? And I will explain in details during our webinars, all right? So where we are right now, okay? We are trying, after this few bumps to the upside, to the downside, stops to the upside, stops to the downside, we are still above weekly open, and we are still above this Monday high, and we are still above, and the Monday high is also these stops. We are talking about 1260, right? So here is a positive, but we are below 1275, 1300, right? And it might stay as it is towards the payrolls, right? And again, earnings, that's what we are as FX traders are going to watch. In case we hold above this 1260, right, towards the end of the day, in case of the overall dollar weakness, right, we may try to use that range to predict eventually where we might see euro dollar within the coming days, right? And here, as you can see, if we are going to double that range, it's gonna bring us 114, 114.50. I'm not saying it's not possible. We are going to get our answer probably over the course of the day, and probably closer to the New York session than during the London session. So watch out for that. From the intraday perspective, what I'm gonna do from the intraday perspective, I'm going to try to fade 113.05, as well as I'm going to try to fade 1220. Okay, so I'm going over from the intraday perspective. For now, I'm going to try to trade that range. That's how I see the things on euro dollar. Let's have a look, because we are trying this supply over here. So 694 still on dollar Chinese yuan. Okay, let's go further. Dollar yen. What we discussed over the course of this week, that we need to hold these lows, right? So sometimes I'm saying invisible hands of Bank of Japan. You may laugh, but come on, invisible hands of the Bank of Japan. Anyway, we are not discovering America, saying that's the very important zone over here. So there are attempts to push the prices higher, but honestly, compared to what happened last Friday, the huge range to the downside. So honestly, here it might be just flag creation, right? We might see retest 109, all right? But with what is going on here, to turn bullish, we need more, right? From the medium-term perspective. But short-term, it looks not bad. And especially if we are gonna get or different words, if the non-farm payrolls will not disappoint, there is a nice combination, and we might see attempt to break higher, and from intraday perspective that might be something we can take the advantage of. I mean, yesterday there was an attempt to push prices lower, so we end up the day with lower shadow. Now, in case we are going to be able to break, of course it's a very risky, because it's against the overall situation in the market on one hand, because we are falling. On the other hand, we're trying to hold this important zone, so it might be worth to think about this. So my approach is going to be trying to buy, and it's a based on the break trade. It's gonna be like attempt to break higher, and I'm going to make the thing like this. Right, the measure, that should be strong rally. So if we are going to get good non-farm payrolls, right, meaning that we are going to see that break, from intraday perspective, I will try to collect few pips based on the intraday chart, not daily, but in case of the break and close higher, because it's Friday, more likely I'm not going to stay overnight over the weekend with yen, but then I will try to reopen eventually after the weekend, but we are going to discuss it on Monday morning, right? So that's something is cooking here, right? And of course in that case, with this scenario, it's not going to be the flag, it's going to be the attempt to break higher. So that's a little bit of the bullish approach, right? And have to be careful. I have to be very careful, because I'm not that bullish on indices, right? That's something we are going to discuss during the afternoon meeting. Just a few words. The thing is, I'm not sure if the good payrolls is gonna be enough here. I think that we might get back into the translation that the good news might not necessarily be good news, because we are talking about the Fed rate cuts, right? And we are approaching the Fed meeting, and the upcoming one in June is 19th of June, and we are going to cover it live. So if ISM non-manufacturing was good, right? ADP was weak, but if we are going to get the, if there are gonna be difference between what we've seen from ADP and here from non-farm payrolls, after ADP, market was calling market was like 33% on the side to cut during the upcoming meeting. I don't think so. So I'm very curious what kind of the reaction is going to be, right? Market wants the cut, right, to push prices higher. But if we are going to get if we are going to keep getting good news, right, meaning that the economy is doing well, we might see higher stock prices without the Fed cut. We will see. Of course, the rights are gonna be the people who have the most money, right, and can manipulate the market. So that's how I see the things. Anyway, dollar yen is trying higher right now. Finally, there is a Canadian job market later today. There was a strong move to the downside over the course of the whole day yesterday here, right? Now, I want to see the price action after the Canadian job data, right? If there was only manipulation to the downside to just hit more stops, right, and create some kind of over-under situation here, right? So because we had the stops to the upside, now we had more stops to the downside from the intraday perspective. The afternoon data, Canadian data, is gonna be very, very interesting. One of the reasons Canadian dollar was stronger yesterday was this attempt to push all prices higher based on this range of the latest weakness over here, right? So there was a reaction on Wednesday. Very interesting. There is a sentence from the big oil traders: don't try to short don't try to short oil Friday afternoon. And seeing this situation, it might be some kind of the attempt to reverse, especially if we are going to go above weekly open. Of course, the last Thursday and Friday, 2 big days, earlier as well, right? So again, it might be what we are going to see here might be similar to what we've seen here, but again, it's a Friday, a little bit more short covering might be in place. So that's of course supporting Canadian dollar. On the other hand, Chinese yuan as well as job market might be against Canadian dollar. All right, and we are below 60 on euro again. I have to make some cleanings, summer cleanings on these charts. Too many lines. Pound is weakening as well. So overall, trying to summarize the things, dollar yen from the intraday perspective, I may try to join the parity above yesterday high, right? Especially that the things we've seen here right may bring us at least towards 108.80, 109. We, after the break, another break higher, as you can see over here, we're trying to hold these levels right now, right? So that might be my way of trying to approach long dollar yen, right? I'm looking to sell euro pound. I'm waiting with Canadian dollar, probably not touching now pound dollar, and looking to add into the shorts of Australian dollar. All right, so that's it from my side, guys. Don't forget 2:15 p.m. CET, 15 minutes ahead of the non-farm payrolls announcement. You are more than welcome to join me. We are going to cover it live here on Light Forex Global YouTube channel. So see you around within the next few hours. All right. Again, 2:15 p.m. CET, 15 minutes ahead of the non-farm payrolls. See you around. Take care. Have a good London session.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.